5 months into 2020 and roughly 2 months ago, the coronavirus turned the world upside down. Tomorrow on Perspectives, health officials talk about the impact COVID-19 has had in our area. Eric Reynolds is joining us this morning. And Eric, we're happy to have you here because this is your first new Perspectives since this all began.
That's right. We were affected by the COVID-19 as we changed things with social distancing and looking at bringing people into our station, at the time.
Right.
And so this one is also due to our constraints. We are doing this through social media and digital platforms. Our guests will be brought in by Skype. But both the Chief Health Officer for Mobile County, Dr. Bert Eichel, and Dr. Randy Murphy, who is also one of the top officials in the department, will be talking and sharing information. We kind of get an insight into how this happened in our area. Were we expecting anything to blow up like this? Because at one time, as you remember, we were reporting on Birmingham being the hot spot for the state. And then all of a sudden, Mobile County just took number one, and we haven't relinquished that yet as far as the number of cases as well as the deaths in the state of Alabama. So we talk about that. We look at the age group of people, the racial identities, because there is concern that some of the disparities in the African American community are one of the reasons why we're seeing a higher number there. It's almost 46, over 50%, for that community, although not that large of a community when you look at the total county's population. So I think it's a great dialogue where they're sharing some insight, and we've got a chance to let them sort of share more about where we are and what's taking place right now, because we are concerned about future hotspots.
Yeah, and in terms of what's taking place right now, not necessarily touched on directly in this, but we were talking just during the commercial break here about nursing homes, and there's some new information on that.
That's right. We just had a nursing home report some cases where the employee was recognized as having COVID-19, and now they're looking and having to quarantine some of the residents due to that as well. And we talked about that in the program with Dr. Murphy as well as Dr. Eichel, concerned about these things happening. And of course, a large percentage of our cases of diagnosis and deaths have been in the nursing homes, people 65 plus, and of course with those pre-existing conditions. So it's good information that we all need to be aware of, because if we don't meet those criteria, we might have loved ones who do, and we've got to be mindful of type of time that we spend with them.
So even though that information you just shared was new this morning, that topic was discussed during Perspectives looking forward, and that's what they're trying to do, is look ahead and figure out how do we react to future things. Another one that is new is the spike in cases in South Mobile County.
That's right. That's so true. We asked Dr. Eichel about how long would it take for us to see what's going to happen with the new changes that the governor is now opening up the state for business, as well as some of the social distancing, well, I guess you say the CDC guidelines are being adjusted a bit. And we talked about that and feeling I asked him, how soon would we know? And he said from 3 to 10 days, you'd see in certain areas. And so apparently something has happened in the South Mobile County area, and we're now having to address that. And so he felt, though, the good thing was he felt that our medical situation here with the hospitals and the types of testing and other things available for treatment, we would be able to handle certain hotspots. But of course, how many hotspots may you have? That's always a question. There's so many unknowns here still.
Well, I think that's going to be the great things about this episode of Perspectives, is that you watch the daily news pressers, and they talk about the topics of the day. You watch the snippets here on the news, and you get just that, only snippets. This is a half an hour of you getting to sit down and ask them the questions that people really want to know about. That's
right. I was really excited about the opportunity, so we gave them each an opportunity to share one-on-one. And of course, in the future week, we're going to have Mayor Stimson and Commissioner Merceria Ludgood. As you know, they, along with Dr. Eichel, make up the Unified Command, our three top leaders who are helping us navigate through this time.
All right, sounds great. When can we watch Perspectives?
Saturday morning, 9 a.m. right here on Fox 10, following the morning news with Asha Staples and Matt Barentine. And of course, if you happen to miss it, please join us on YouTube, our Fox 10 News YouTube channel, or our website.
Perfect format for this type of discussion. You don't want to miss this episode of Perspectives. Eric, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joe.
All right, coming up, this new device worn under your face mask could give extra protection against coronavirus. We'll explain coming up after the break.